If Jesus was before Adam and Eve, how were they the first people?
If Jesus was before Adam and Eve, how were they the first people? That's a super cool question. Okay, and it's just a little bit of a complicated answer, so just stick with me for a second. Okay? You'll totally get this, but you got to track with me, okay? So the reason we say that Jesus was before Adam and Eve is because Jesus is the Son of God, and the Son of God has always existed. So of course he existed before God created Adam and Eve, okay? But here's the thing. The word Jesus is the name that we use to talk about when the Son of God, who's always existed, became a human being. So Jesus is the name for the Son of God who's become a human being. And that happened somewhere around 1 BC, about 2,000 years ago. The Son of God who's always existed became a human being, and we call the Son of God who is a human being Jesus. So technically, Jesus didn't exist before Adam and Eve. The Son of God existed. Son of God existed, and then he became Jesus about 2,000 years ago, okay? And so the Son of God exists before Adam and Eve, but then God created the first human beings, Adam and Eve. They sinned, everything got messed up, and then eventually God came to one of the descendants of Adam and Eve, a young woman named Mary, and he said, you're gonna give birth to my son, which is when the Son of God, God the Son, kind of joined with humanity and became Jesus. That happened about 2,000 years ago. So Jesus came after Adam and Eve. That's why they were the first people. But the Son of God who became Jesus existed before Adam and Eve. So I know it's really kind of confusing, but that's why it is that they were the first people, even though the Son of God existed before them. But then we didn't start calling him Jesus until he was born 2,000 years ago.